What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of All Things Super. I am one of your hosts, Spider, and I am joined by Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. How are you doing today, sir?
I am the epitome of awesome.
The epitome of awesome.
In every sequence, in every scenario, in every fabrication of it, that's me. I'm awesome. Thank you. Thank you for asking. But how are you? How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine. I am doing fine.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Fine. The hell? What do you mean you're doing fine?
I'm doing fine because I have not been asleep yet.
Oh, so you're kind of in this gray area.
I'm in a gray area of being awake and asleep right now. So I'm
interesting.
In this subliminal space. Not subliminal, liminal space. I'm in the liminal space. I can't even get my words right because
That's a word I wouldn't even use. Not even in my vocabulary. So you're introducing it to me. Well, we know what happens in gray areas.
Yes,
fungus growth.
Okay, maybe we don't know what happens in gray area.
It's a gray area. Who knows? It could be either way.
It could be anything. It could be anything. But before we start talking about all things gray, if you don't know what this is,
what you stumbled into, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. If it's your first time, we are All Things Super. Each and every week, we take a piece of super-powered, action-powered movie, TV show, trailer, we watch it, we react to it, we break it down, we review it, and we answer the question, is it super? We got to find it out.
Is it?
We're going to find out. But if you like that, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel, click on the bell to be notified whenever we have a new video come out. And if you want to get the audio version, you can find us on all major podcast streaming services. And if you want to join in the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod. All those things.
oh, yeah. Sorry, I got caught up in throwing up gang signs.
Say that.
Well, don't say that. No, these are not gang signs. These are signs that represent a gang.
We are, All Things Super is not affiliated with any gangs.
Gang of awesomeness. So we're talking. Oh, go ahead. I know. It's one of those gray areas.
Yeah, it's one of those gray areas where we figure out who's going to say what. But this week, we are reviewing one of the newest Netflix films, because it's been out for a couple of weeks now, but one of the newest Netflix films from the Russo brothers, famed for directing Captain America Civil War, Infinity War, or Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and a bunch of other things as well.
Yeah, Community and
Community.
Like, oh my goodness, these guys have been doing it since they started doing it. It's just everything that they touch has been pretty awesome.
But now they have a film on Netflix called The Gray Man, starring Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans as your protagonist and antagonist, respectively.
Gray Man.
Yeah. Well, one of them was.
Well.
But we're going to get into it. It's going to be spoiler filled.
Is this whole episode is going to be a grayish type of...
I don't think so. I think this is going to be a definitive, like, on one side or the other when it comes to this movie. I don't think we have to worry about any gray area.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, but it's going to be full spoilers. So if you haven't watched it yet and you're on the fence, you can take
out of here.
I was going to say you can listen to us and determine if you wanted to watch it or not. But
if
Mr. VIP
and
Frankie Washington said, "Get out of here." He said he don't want you.
Yeah.
Go watch the movie first.
Wait a minute. That's not what I said at all. All viewers are welcome.
What else do you mean when you say get out of here?
Well, I'm saying if you're going to want to watch the movie without having it spoiled, you want to go watch the movie without having it spoiled. But if you want to stick around to see what foolery we talk about, you're more than welcome. It may make you want to watch the movie. It may make you skip the movie. It's 100% up to you. But if you
right now, they're existing in the gray area on if they want to watch the movie or not.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say, Because I know me and I know how I get into stuff, and sometimes I just whoops, sorry. So I'm just going.
Spoiler. Everybody dies.
There it is, right there.
Oops, it just slipped out.
Wow. Thanks, Mark.
All right, so
yeah, you got the spoiler alert. So
yeah, you got the spoiler warning. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the Gray Man, Mr. VIP, Frankie Washington. What did you think about the Gray Man?
These Russo guys are at it again. Listen, they got two of the biggest names in Hollywood to come together to make a interesting conversational talk about peace.
It sounds like you're holding your words back.
Yeah, it's a gray area for me. So because there's no reason that this movie should not work. There's none. You got two incredible directors, which again, their catalog is you can argue amongst many other great artistries that have been created, but to me, the Gray Man kind of falls flat and gray and dead. And there's no reason for it. You got Chris Evans in there, who's America's ass, is acting his ass off. He's
I got shot in the ass.
That's America's ass. And he's killing the role. I mean, you've probably never seen him play as such a bad guy before, which I'm pretty sure was a decision that he made that, you know, I could go bad. I could do bad. And he was dressed to the nine. Mm-hmm. He did bad guy shit. And then you had Ryan on the other side doing good guy shit. You know, the story works. He was in jail for a noble reason. He got out of jail with an opportunity, and, you know, he's expendable. Just like, you know, those guys would be in that situation. You know too much. Now you're a threat, and I had to take you out. The storyline was good. It's obviously operatives being used. One escaped, got out. And then he realized, you know, there's some other shit going on, and he pretty much was on a run, and they used Ryan to go take him out. Now, Ryan is pretty exceptional at what he does, and it's understandable that you hire the best to take care of one of the best. Mm-hmm. But the story just didn't, I don't know. It wasn't enough for me to care about. I don't know. Maybe it's a situation. I mean, we've seen this whole thing before, right? Like Man on Fire.
Absolutely.
Denzel's so funny. We were just talking about that.
Yeah, I was kind of relating it to sort of Born Identity kind of mixed with John Wick type feel.
I got The Accountant, Ben Affleck's.
Yeah.
Because I hope this day never comes that we get to a point that, you know, we're tired of seeing these storylines. But I think the artist has to understand that your general audience in our age demographic have seen these storylines. So it may resonate a little differently with us than someone who's of a younger demographic that have never seen these type of things before. Mm-hmm. Even when we were watching, and I'm sorry, I'm about to cross universes, when we were watching Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, when we seen Black Bolt's mouth get closed, we instantly went back to the Matrix.
Right.
Because that's what we saw at first. Mm-hmm. But when he spoke and blew his brains out the side of his helmet, that was something we weren't expecting. We didn't see that before.
Not at all.
So it kind of got us like, whoa, it's something old, but something new is on here too. So I'm thinking that with these tropes that we're seeing, we kind of got that too, but not really got that too. It's a gray area for me. Spider, why don't you talk to them?
Watching this movie, I struggled throughout the movie, and it's funny that you've been talking about being in the gray area. I really was, because I was like, I can't decide whether I like this or not. And it was like there were times where I'm watching, I'm like, okay, I enjoy this. It's not bad. And then there were other times when I'm watching, I'm just like, I don't know if this is
what am
good.
I watching?
Right. And it really confused me because I don't think I've ever felt like that watching the movie before. And like you said,
it will make you feel things. This is good.
But like you said, the story should have worked. All of the elements were there for the story to work, but for whatever reason, it just didn't jump off the page in the way that I think that the Russos intended it to. Because it's filled with action. There are some comedic beats in there. Like you said, Chris Evans is acting his ass off.
Killing it.
I always find him to be pretty exceptional when he's playing like an asshole. Because he did it in Knives Out. Yeah, he did it in Knives Out. He was one of the evil exes in Scott Pilgrim versus the World, so he's played sort of a bad guy role before, but of course in Scott Pilgrim it was like more over the top and comic booky and all that kind of stuff. But seeing him, I mean, I understand that the mustache was a choice. That's probably like the most egregious part of his whole character is the mustache. But it is what it is. But like, yeah, he's acting his ass off. I felt like
that's not a T-shirt. The mustache was a choice. The mustache was a choice.
But no, I feel like the villains, the bad guys in this movie, they were like they were like such bad guys. It was like so cliche. Like everything they did was like so stereotypical bad guys. Because I remember when they were like getting into the climax of the movie, in the third act when they were going into the hedge maze. When they got out of the water and Lloyd got Claire and he started dragging her into the hedge maze. I'm like, oh, it's the time for the misdirection play. He's gonna drag her in and he's gonna start monologuing. And what did they do when they get to the center fountain? He started monologuing. And I'm like, okay, we're getting into this whole formulaic thing. And the whole thing about Carmichael. I was like, as soon as he showed up on the screen and he started directing Six and what to do, I was like, that's your bad guy right there. He's corrupt. I was like, I knew it from the moment I saw him. I was like, he's the one. He's the one that's like pulling the strings. He's the one who's ultimately going to be coming after Six. And lo and behold, he was the one that they had dirt on. So he's trying to save face.
Are you trying to say that big reveal wasn't?
No, there was no there was nothing in this movie that was unexpected.
That was the twist. That was a big reveal. What do you?
I think the most unexpected thing that that kind of caught me by surprise was really Chris Evans actually like limping after he got shot in the ass. Because it's like normally people get shot because like the Gray Man, he got stabbed multiple times. Like when they were in the fountain fighting, Lloyd had the knife. He stabbed him. He sliced him. He Ginsu knife. And so it was like a day after he was in the hospital. Well, no, it was like a couple weeks later. But apparently he healed from all of that enough to where he could just go right back in to get Claire and just do the same thing he was doing before, just running through the house, clearing all the rooms, killing everybody. And it's like, so I'm used to seeing that, like people get hurt and then all of a sudden it's like they're fine. But seeing him get shot in the ass and then the next scene he's limping, it was just a lot. She's like, why are you walking like that? Because I got shot in the ass, Suzanne.
When
probably my favorite line of the whole movie.
When he was in the fountain and he was like,
oh yeah, because he got his finger shot off and then he got burned on the back from the flare, and like he hit his when he went to punch Six and he got him in the forehead and he hit him, he was like, and it's like, you missed your fingers. And and when he fell in the water he was like, that stings. That was like a real reaction. That's like something that somebody would actually do.
It was like crazy. Chris Evans did his thing in this movie, so why does this movie not work?
I think why doesn't it work? I feel like...
Is it Ryan? Do you want to say it's Ryan?
No, I don't want to say it's Ryan because I feel like
this is the type of show that we will say it's Ryan if it's Ryan.
Will say if it was Ryan, we would say it was Ryan. I feel like I feel like he's still it wasn't like the Oscar worthy performance or anything like that, but I feel like
You
he still
wanted
gave a
more from
decent
Ryan.
performance. Yeah,
He
but then the
didn't
thing
like
about
the
it is,
silent, soft
I
spoken, deadly type.
guess not, because I'm just thinking about it. It's like, yeah, I kind of wanted more, but I didn't. At the same time, I don't know what more I wanted from him because I don't.
That's sad.
He was emotionless, but not distant. If that makes sense, because you could tell, like, obviously he cared about Claire, and we didn't find out why until after, because when he and I'll get into like the different action scenes, but after he jumped out of the plane and he called Fitzroy, because obviously Fitzroy was the one that told the extraction team to kill him. So he calls, and when Fitzroy is on the phone and tells him that they have Claire, you can see, like, he's like, fuck. He's like, okay, well, I kind of understand why you did it now.
Right.
And so it's like, then we get the flashbacks or whatever of 2 years earlier where he's like actually taking care of Claire, and the guy comes in to try to, I guess, kidnap her or kill her or something like that. I don't know. But just that little time that they had together, you can see where he started to, develop kind of
Real
camaraderie with
emotions.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I guess like him, but it's like he said, you guys taught me to kill people, not take care of kids. But it's like you were still like you're not a person like the Born Identity where they were like kind of raised up in the system. It was like you were still a person first before they trained you. They didn't teach you. I mean, they probably taught him to be, withhold his emotions, but they didn't necessarily teach him to be emotionless, I would imagine. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess the whole
Kind of like a gray area.
this whole all my feelings about this movie is operating in the gray. It's just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. It's like it could have been better, but I can't. Me, in my opinion, personally speaking, I can't say for sure what would have made it better. And that bothers me because I feel like we always have like,
Was it
okay,
Claire?
well, the writing. No, I don't really have a problem with Claire. I feel like she was in it just enough. She didn't really do much, and then at the end, where you could see that she was kind of tired of like all of the stuff going on. She lost her uncle. She lost her parents. And she's trying to get Ryan out of there, and Ryan is like, "No, you go. I can handle this." And so she's like, "Okay, well, I want to try to do something because I need to get him with me." And so she takes the flare gun. She shoots Lloyd in the back. Perfect shot, by the way.
We out here
But
shooting.
but I feel like, yeah, I feel like she wasn't in it like an egregious amount, and then for the time that she was in it, she was kind of like there, and it wasn't a point to where like the hero had to put himself in danger to try to protect her because she was like in the way. Um,
I'm
so I
sitting
don't
here
know. I
now.
didn't really have a problem with
So
Claire.
I'm thinking to myself, with Extraction, with Thor: Love and Thunder,
Mm-hmm.
with all these tropes were pretty much the same thing. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Mandalorian. Is it just we're tired of seeing this storyline? The older guy all protecting a younger
Protecting the
kid.
child.
This is what I'm saying.
I mean,
Is it just because we just saw it?
I think it's the same, but it's different. Especially
Yeah,
when
of
it
course
comes
it's
to,
different, but
yeah,
it's overall the same. It's a trope that we've recently just seen.
yeah. But I feel
And
like in Thor: Love and Thunder, the love didn't come into play until like the very end of the movie. I mean, they were like on a mission to go retrieve children, so I mean, I guess that kind of comes into play as well. But yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Mandalorian,
Mandalorian,
Obi-Wan Kenobi,
yeah,
Extraction, Chris Hemsworth
yeah,
on Netflix. we just, and I'm not saying that's it. I'm not saying that that's exactly what it is. I'm just saying that
could that be
we
it?
recently seen these storylines. It's a great area. It's a great area for me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think this
I
movie,
can't pinpoint it.
it should have worked. By all counts, it should have worked. There's nothing in it. You got amazing talent, amazing directors. You have not an amazing storyline. It's not to say that they can't use their storyline. Obviously, they could do whatever they want. They may feel extremely proud of, this project, and that they should. I mean, here's the question: Spider,
Yes,
is it super? That's that's the question.
Yeah.
Would you watch it? Could you watch it again? Would you watch it again?
Is it rewatchable? Watch it again.
It's not horrible. It's not bad.
It's really not a bad movie. It's just really okay. I think it's just a really okay movie. I think that's the best way that I can describe it. It's just a really okay movie.
Sorry.
It's like we say, it's not bad. It is not just okay. It's a really okay movie. It's like teetering on the edge of good, but it's not there yet. It's just a really okay movie.
What more do you want? You even said it. That's not fair. You're saying you want it to be more, but you're not saying what more you want.
So one of the things
the guy jumped out of a plane.
The guy did jump out of a plane. I feel like
you needed more Tom Holland.
that's
literal. Yes, I know Tom Holland was not the movie. Yes, I know that. You need more cowbell.
The literal connection that I made when he jumped out of the plane when they were having that fight in the sky, I went immediately to Uncharted. I was like, Uncharted did this better. And I know it's different. It's a bigger budget, a major motion picture film versus. No, I'm not even talking about the universe. I'm just saying that Uncharted was probably a bigger budget than what they had for a Netflix film. And that particular fight scene. What? That they had a bigger budget? I'm pretty sure they had a bigger budget. Let's see what the budgets were. If I can find out what the budget was for Gray Man.
I think this was $200 million. And I think Uncharted was less, honestly.
Well, if that's the case.
200 million?
Gray Man was 200 million.
Okay.
And Uncharted was 120 million.
So what were you saying?
So that definitely says that I don't know what they did with their money, because that CGI fight scene while they were falling through the sky was absolutely awful.
Oh my goodness.
It's like I can understand, because I felt like, okay, so just think it through. I felt like one of the things that they did that they kind of could have pulled back on was just that everything seemed like it was over sensationalized, right? Like you can have a fight scene in the plane. It's like, okay, I'm fine with that, but it's like when with the parachutes. Like every parachute he grabbed got used and then got taken out of the plane. It's like the plane started ripping apart, but it only started ripping apart where the parachutes were. And it's like that whole thing. Then he get the parachute on and the plane flips and then the car goes on top of him. Then the other guy takes the parachute, so he has to jump after him. And just that fight scene while they're falling through the sky. Like, yes, I know that you can still kind of pull that off practically by having them like on a blue screen, kind of like rigged up, and they're just going like rotating, but they CGI'd the whole thing and it looked bad. It looked so bad. And I just don't understand why, because I can understand CG fights when it's superheroes. And I understand that. But most of the time, like you have Iron Man, you have Spider-Man there in a suit. But it kind of brought me back to that Black Panther versus Killmonger fight at the end of the first Black Panther.
Yeah, that
and
was, they love it.
It was just like that.
They
that
cut the
all
man
CGI
money.
fight. Yeah, just that fully CGI fight. It doesn't look good because CGI characters, even though they're motion captured by actual people, they just don't look. They I don't know, for whatever reason, they just don't feel like they move like regular people. And while they were, especially a mid-air fight, because you're spinning around and you're rotating on all 3 degrees, and I don't know. It's just it looked like very bendy. Just the way that they were rotating, and that was probably one of the worst things, the worst parts of the film for me was just that CGI fight. And it's just like the gunfight in the square, and it's like I know it's you got to suspend your disbelief. And like this is a world where espionage and all of this stuff is like out in the open, but the number of mercenaries, the guns for hire that were in the square, just shooting at cops, shooting at cars, and I'm like, this just seems.
Didn't it give you heat moments? It was like De Niro. No,
it just
no
seemed
heat.
over. It just seemed over the top. It was like way over the top. Like all of a sudden, dude comes out with an RPG, and it's just like.
It means business.
Yeah. And then
they shot everywhere except where they were supposed to shoot.
And it's like, I understand sometimes you have to take leaps in logic. The final climactic scene, finding Lloyd in his what I thought was his house, but apparently I don't know if it was like just a place that he was staged where he was just doing his whole operation or whatever.
You know, Airbnb doesn't allow those type of things. You can't set up corporate espionage when they're.
Is that in the terms and conditions?
I think it's in the rules. I don't think Airbnb allows that type of artillery to be brought into the house.
Well, I mean, it's for the best, to be honest.
Hey, man, that's what whatever deals you make with your host.
But the thing about it is, like, even before that, because I don't want to call him the wrong ethnicity, but I think the guy was Indian. The lone wolf guy that actually got the drive off of 6 when they were in the hospital. Is like all the other, like, after they got out of the square, all the other teams were wiped out, and Lloyd was like, what all available teams report, nobody was reporting. Then the lone wolf got on the comms. He was like, I had suspect in my sights and I'm trailing him. So he was following them. And so, yeah, I can understand they got to the hospital. They went in there acting like they were patients. They stole the nurse's badge to get into the room, whatever, so they could, I don't even remember what they went into the damn hospital to. Oh, because they, I guess, wanted to patch each other up or whatever. But they got into the hospital. They're in a particular hospital room. How the hell did the lone wolf know what room they were in? Because when they were in the hospital, he hadn't even gotten out of the car yet. He pulled up to the hospital way after them while they were already in the room. And then, boom, he just shows up in the same room that they're in. Like, how did you find them? Like, I don't get that. And then...
That's the magic of movies, man.
And I understand that, but it's like, when you have... I don't know, and I guess it's easier...
Movie logic.
It's easier to accept movie logic, I guess, when the rest of the movie is like firing on all cylinders and it doesn't take you out of it. But like another part that took me out of it, when they were going to the mansion, the big estate house or whatever that Lloyd was in, and Miranda was just like running through the courtyard, firing grenades into the windows. She knew exactly what window to shoot into to take out like the whole operations room that they were in. It's like, did you get schematics on the house? Like, how did you know where everybody was located? She wasn't just firing into random windows. She had a pointed area of attack. Like, she knew exactly where she was going. And I just don't know how they would have got that intel. And that was just one of the things that I'm worried about, because this is a movie about intel. This is a movie about the CIA. This is a movie about spies. You can't operate unless you have intelligence before you go in, because they made a big point of it when Carmichael had Miranda in the office and she dropped a folder in front of her and he was like, look in the folder. She opened it up. He's like, that's everything that we have on 6. So we need you to tell us where he is. So again, no intel. You cannot move unless you have the intel. They couldn't move on. They saw that he mailed off the drive, but they all, and of course, even on that shitty surveillance camera, it was like, oh well, no, they said that the clerk said that it was a PO box to Prague, so they got it from the clerk actually. I was about to say if they got that address off of that shitty surveillance camera, I was like, no, that technology is not there. But yeah, they said the clerk said
zoom
it was a PO
in
box
and
to Prague.
focus.
Zoom in and
zoom in enhance. One of the old tropes that he used to do. Oh, it was here the whole time.
Right.
Just zoom in and enhance. It's a foot.
Yeah, exactly. You cannot create data in a static image that is not there. But yeah, again, intel. It was like, okay, well, who is in Prague? It's like he wouldn't just send it to a PO box in Prague unless there was somebody that was in Prague. And again, Lloyd went after Fitzroy, started pulling out the nails. But again, they can't move unless they have the intel. And it struck me as odd that they knew exactly where to go in order, because that was a huge building. It was a huge house. It was a mansion. But she knew exactly where to fire a grenade to blow up all the computers and stuff.
Girls get it done. That's what we're chalking that up to. Girls get it done. And she got it.
Yeah, she got it done. And then the extension cord fight where they're choking each other out with the surge protectors.
There's no reason that this movie should not work. There's no reason that it shouldn't work. But I said it. It's in a gray area for me. And maybe it works for others. Maybe
it's quite possible. I'm sure that there are people who like we have literally been like middle this whole entire time. But I'm sure there are people on either side.
Spider and Mr. VIP Frankie Washington are our opinions alone. These do not affect the large masses because maybe they should though.
No. People are free to have their own opinion. You can feel however you want to feel about the gray area, the gray man. It's a gray area.
Maybe that was the achievement. That's what the goal was, to leave you in a blasé kind of gray-ish. Walking out of the theater, Netflix. Sorry, walking out of the Netflix simulation. Yeah, saying to myself, "Well, I'm glad that turned out all right."
But did it turn out all right? Worked out. Because even at the end, nobody got in trouble for the shit because all three of the agents, Carmichael, Suzanne, and Miranda, they all like, all right, you know what? We all still want to make sure that we have careers, so we're just gonna keep this shit on the wraps. Right. Yeah, just blame Lloyd. Pin it all on Lloyd. And shout out to I think that was Joe Russo for his cameo. He was the old guy that was like the head of.
How you know it wasn't Anthony?
I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember the difference between the two.
Could be Anthony. Could calling it Joe. Could be Anthony. But yeah, I like actually when he jumps in there. He's not a stranger to putting himself in the movies as he should. I would. Mm-hmm. Why not be immortalized forever? And
yeah,
Hitchcock did it. And was it Joe?
Yeah, that was Joe.
Well, didn't I take back everything that I said? Clearly, I don't know.
But yeah, he's been doing that.
I don't know. This is not normal.
No, it's really not. Normally, we have very strong feelings one way or another about a movie. It's just. Like I said, it was just
if that was their goal. If that was their goal, they are masters at their craft.
Look, I feel like that's a talent in and of itself to get people to just feel kind of about a movie, like to not love it, but also not hate it at the same time. It was like, we want y'all to go into this movie, and we just want you to have a very middling feeling about everything that's going on right now.
Perfection. If that's what the goal was, they achieved the mission. Because you walk in and it's like, just nothing about the name is exciting. I mean, he was 6 in the movie. The organization wasn't great. I mean, we kind of understood they operate in the shadows and the gray areas. Like, we need to go and assassinate these people, but we really didn't get that. We got alluded to that. He really went to go take out somebody else that was in the program. So,
right.
All because of the guy that was also in the program was doing some shady stuff. But again, you know what it felt like? It's kind of like the first Suicide Squad. Not the one that James Gunn redid. Mm-hmm. When they used Viola Davis, she had the Suicide Squad rescue her. By the way, the animated version is way better than the movie version. Same premise, but it's just executed well. And you kind of felt disappointed, not at the animated version, at the real one. Even though you knew the story, they stayed true to the story. You just kind of felt like, well, I'm glad that worked out. And it kind of gave me that type of vibe. It's like, okay, okay, it's okay. That all that. So end up here,
right?
I don't know this movie.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. This movie just is perplexes me. I know we talked about we were going to watch it, and I was like, okay, so here we go. And now, there it was. And it came and it went.
I had to watch the first like 30 minutes of it twice because I had to force myself to pay attention to it because it didn't like catch my attention like off the bat. And I don't know.
What did you need to see?
No, it's not that I needed to see it. It's just like I wanted to make sure that I was giving the movie the proper attention to actually like watch it and like understand what's going on. Because in the first 30 minutes, it's like that whole scene with him going after Four, and they do a lot of explanation into exactly what Four was doing. He was trying to, blackmail Carmichael because he found that he was dirty or whatever. And so I wasn't paying attention to it. So I would look up and I see him fighting, like, okay, well, he's fighting. And I go back to like doing something else. And then I look up again, Ford's dead. And he gave him like a necklace or a chain or whatever. And the woman comes up and he's like, well, did he tell you anything? Did he give you anything? And that's when they were on the phone. And he was like, just basically like, why should I trust you or whatever? And it's like every time somebody called him asking him questions, he never gave them an answer on what they were asking. And so it was like Carmichael called him. He was like, did you find anything on the body? And at first I thought he was going to be like, well, I didn't search him. He was trying to kill me, so I killed him and I left. You got your proof. And then he was basically like, this is your last chance because if you have something that I should have, you should turn it over to me. And he just like, understood. And he hung up the phone. Just like, okay. And it's like Carmichael as a villain was just so underwhelming. It was just.
Are you blaming? He's a heartthrob to America. What is going on right now?
Yeah, he is. He was well received in Bridgerton, and people love him. That doesn't mean that he's going to be great in every role that he plays. And I mean, it's just there was nothing for him to do. He was just basically a man in the background because he hired Lloyd, and then Lloyd took over from there. Like he didn't do anything.
There was nothing for him to do.
The first time we see him, him and Suzanne are like sitting in this like little office or whatever. And then so when he gets off the phone with Six and he like determines that Six had the drive, and like he just threw his drink at the fucking window. I was like, ooh, he got angry issues. And I was like, he's so mad. And
I'm like, who's gonna clean that up?
Exactly.
That's not
gonna
nice.
clean it up. And then when Suzanne found him in the bathroom and she told him that that Six was gone and they lost him again, he like punched the fucking like the dryer or the towel dispenser or whatever. I'm like, all right, like he really has anger issues. So like so I didn't know like that was gonna come into play, like if Six was gonna end up making his way back to Carmichael.
Spoiler alert, it
doesn't.
It doesn't come into play at all.
I'm thinking like he was gonna like they were gonna end up getting into a fight, like his anger was gonna, you know, get the better of him and he was gonna like end up getting killed or something. But yeah, did nothing. Sat on his ass the whole movie. And after he hired Lloyd, it was just literally nothing for him to do. He didn't call the shots. He didn't talk to Suzanne ever again. The only other time is he talked to Miranda because she came back and she was like, you know, basically just like calling him out on his shit. He's like, you know, if anything goes wrong, if anything happens to me, you know what I'm gonna do. And he was like, please remove yourself from my personal space. And it was like, you were supposed to be like,
what shit is this?
Like kind of like controlling everything, but you weren't. You
Man,
just
called Lloyd. Shut up. Oh, I'm sorry.
But it was like one of the things that I don't know, and again, movie logic. It's like I understand that they're these CIA operatives, and they were very skilled in hand-to-hand combat and weapons, and different type of weapons, all this other kind of stuff. But everybody was just so exceptionally good at everything.
Well, you know, that's how it is at that level. You're not dealing with Joe the plumber. Yes. You're dealing with like agents.
It just seemed like they were too good. I was like, cause I was thinking about like John Wick, the Baba Yaga, the Boogeyman. He was the best of the best, but
he was the one that you called to kill the Boogeyman.
They still thought of him as the Boogeyman too.
Oh yeah, good. You kill what you keep. You keep what you kill. So right. To kill that title.
He killed the Boogeyman, kept the title, so he's the new Boogeyman. But you think about John Wick and like the fights and the battles that he goes through, like he takes damage, he gets beat up, he gets like overpowered, outmaneuvered. But it's
and part 3, he should have died several times.
Yes, absolutely. But it's like for the majority of the movie, for the Gray Man, it's just like Ryan Gosling just can't be touched. It's like he's just so much better than everybody else. And then yeah, I agree that he's probably better than most fighters. But the situation that he got himself into, it was just like he was head and shoulders leagues above everybody else. Never got outpowered, never got overpowered, never got outnumbered. He was literally in the square behind a bench, and Lloyd said the same thing. How long does it take to shoot a man that's handcuffed to a bench? You got people with machine guns, Gatling guns, rocket launchers, all this other kind of stuff. He's literally handcuffed to the bench. It's like the fact that nobody could shoot him. It's like
you shot a grenade or a rocket launcher, he at least be hurt. You know, maybe not necessarily killed, but somewhat dismembered, or even you know what? Fuck you, movie.
It was just so. Just some of the stuff, it was just so over the top. It was just like incredibly over the top.
We like over the top. I'm not going to say that we don't like over the top.
It's just something about this. It just made it just seem like it was too much. It was just I kept getting like taken out of it. Cause I mean that's why I said it was the middle thing of like I'm enjoying it, and then something happened. It was like, you know what? It's taking me out of it again. And then I go back into like the movie goes on, like, okay, I'm kind of back in. Like Alfred Woodard, her character, I forget her character's name. What was her name? The one in Prague where they shipped the stuff to.
I don't remember her name, but I know she did what she needed to do.
Cahill.
I don't remember her character's name.
Yeah, Cahill.
What was her character's name?
Margaret Cahill.
Should have let her use her real name.
But like her whole scene, like even though we didn't know like much about her, like other than him getting an assignment from her to protect Claire because Fitzroy was like going on a mission. Like that's the only other time we saw her in the movie, but she came back, and just like the short conversation that they had, where obviously she has lung cancer now, she's got a terminal diagnosis, she's not going to live too much longer.
Yeah, how deliberate was that? Because they set her up, they put 2 cartons right there on her desk, so it wasn't said, it was shown, which is we appreciate, but I don't know. It wasn't her movie, and I understand. But when you have a talent like that, you write her in,
right?
More,
and it's like just the little bit of time that she had on screen for that last little scene before she like sacrificed herself so Six could get away.
Why was everybody sacrificing themselves? Like everybody, you go. They got Billy Bob Thornton. You go.
You have to be the one to save the world.
Like, you know what? I'm not done. Don't leave me. I'm going to live. Right. Let me leave this grenade here on a tripwire.
Right.
I'm not. You know what?
I don't know. Oh man, but yeah, just at that last scene that she was in, she had just those couple of minutes, and she ate that up, and she was. The little time she had, it was like that was another part that pulled me back in. Just like her annoyance, was like she's announcing, "I'm in here," and they're still clearing out all the rooms. She's like, "I'm in here." It's just like just that little bit.
Sometimes you just can't hear. This is no script. She's real.
She's real. She's like, "Yo, motherfuckers, hurry up! I am in here. I am sitting in here."
And surprise, motherfucker.
Now, not that in the time that it took for Six to go through the floor hatch for her to like sit down and like wait for them to come into the room. That entire like apartment or house or whatever she was in would have not filled up with enough gas that quick. Unless she like broke broke 3 gas mains.
That ain't her fault. She got to work with what she's given. I'm about to tear out my eye.
Rest in peace, Margaret Cahill.
They should have let her use her real name.
Oh, killer. Yeah.
There's no reason why this movie shouldn't work. There's no reason why. Is it the tone? This is the last question I'm gonna ask about it. Is it the pacing? Is it the tone of the movie?
I never felt like
it kind of kept a good.
Yeah, it kept a good pace. I never felt like, because the movie was over 2 hours long, but I never felt like I had to stop and look at my clock or look at the time left on the movie. Like, oh damn, the fucking movie's still going. Like, how much more they have left to go. I never felt myself.
They do have some movies that drag things out like that. You're like, oh my god. And then there's some other movies it's like it's 3 hours long, and it's like
it don't feel like it. Right.
How do you capture that magic? That means your audience is engulfed into your story.
Yeah.
And everyone has something compelling going on, so you're invested to try to see what's going to be the resolve. In case you don't know, this movie don't have that. It just does not. Man. Like Spider was saying, there's no point in time I felt like Ryan Gosling was in danger.
No, not a single time.
I was kind of waiting for people to sacrifice themselves. I'm in here. And then at the end of it, it's I think for me, it's the same trope that we saw with nothing really exciting and new to the elements.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to say story. I always go back to it. Yeah, because not to say the story doesn't work in the sense of what it was, to say the story don't work in the sense of how they executed. I guess because again, like I said, we saw the accountant. You have your stoic, silent, or very minimum words assassin, John Wick. Like I said, Ben Affleck's accountant. You can go as far as and say the Mandalorian, right? Guys that are really good at what they do. They train. And I understand, like you said, this is the upper world, but no one else is trained like Ryan is trained. So it's not really a difficult task for me to mow through your guys of henchmen. And I guess if they are henchmen, it makes sense. But again, if you get into this level of I'm an assassin too,
right,
then the fight scenes should be a little more, and which they did. Again, they did that. Chris Evans wasn't a pushover.
No, not at all.
They took half his hand, they burned him with a flare, they shot him in the ass. I mean, he's still fighting with everything that he's got.
Right.
You knew it. You knew he wasn't going to win. You know?
No, of course not. I will say one thing before we get into wrapping it up. I do appreciate the knife flip. It wasn't the same knife flip as they did in the Winter Soldier, but Chris Evans did have a knife flip because he had the knife, and then Six was holding his hand, and then he flipped the knife into the other hand so he could stab him. I do appreciate that kind of like little callback because Chris had a knife flip pulled on him. Now he got to pull a knife flip on somebody else. I do appreciate that little subtle callback.
Merging universes is what we do.
Right. Oh, but to go back to your question, Mr. VIP Frankie Washington, as to is the gray man super? I cannot say with full confidence that it's super. I can't say that it's super. Like you said, it's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination. But it's not super.
You should not cancel your Netflix subscription.
No, not over the gray man.
No, don't do that. Keep Netflix. But is this gray man super for me? Fuck no. No, it's not fucking super at all. It's not in the neighborhood of super. It's not to say super as in superhero. I want everybody to understand this. If you're watching for the first time and you stuck through this video for this amount of time, thank you. Super doesn't necessarily mean superhero content. We just want to know if it's a super movie. And we talked about what defines super in a lot of other videos, and I'm not going to go into it now because I want you to watch the other videos. But it wasn't super. It wasn't. I wanted it to be. Yeah. It should have been. You had all the ingredients.
Like I was about to say, it had all the elements for a great action-packed movie, and it just missed.
It was action, but just action we didn't care about.
Yeah.
It was reaction. It wasn't like you said, that whole CGI situation.
Yeah. And it's like I'm trying to remember. I don't think that they did that at any other point in the movie.
That's where your money went, right there.
I guess so.
That CGI scene.
It could have easily been.
I wonder if they could get a refund.
Something. Oh, I don't know. I don't think they can. I think the 30-day window on that is already expired.
Isn't there a gray area that can, legally?
Not with a free-falling CGI fight scene. There's no gray area in that. Once it's paid for, it's done. Can't get that money back.
It's yours now. Hey, no
refunds.
Tint your screen. Make it a little gray. I mean, they can get away with it. I don't know. This movie is just...
I don't think that would have helped it at all.
I am still a fan of everyone involved.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is one that they hit out the park. And sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. That's just how movies are. So I don't want anybody to be angry. Just these are just our opinions.
Exactly. And we're trying to
push on you.
We are not trying to force our opinions on anybody, but you can either agree or disagree with us. But let us know what you thought.
Is this a gang sign?
No, that's not a gang sign. That's a universal thumbs up to let you know
So it's
now
not
you
a
start,
thumbs down.
yeah,
It's
you
not
start,
a thumbs up. It's
you start doing, yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's just like just one of these, just one of
this
these.
is a
Just like
gang sign.
not up, not down, just like right in the middle, right in the middle. That might be a gang sign. I don't know.
I see. Yeah, I seen the gorillas do this.
God damn it. But let us know.
Gorillas.
Let us know in the
streets.
comments below what you thought about The Gray Man. And like I said, if you agree with us, if you really liked it, you disagree with us, you think that it was a good movie, or if you disagree with us and you thought it was a really bad movie. Either way, like we said, we're in the middle. We're just like very, just kind of middle of the road about this one. Not bad, but not good. So, Jesus. But let us know in the comments below what you thought about what you thought about the
mediocre man.
Man. Why do I feel like that's been a title of something before? I don't know. I have to look into it and see that. But don't forget, if you like the video, go ahead and click on the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Click on the bell so you can be notified we have a new video go out. Remember, if you want the audio version, you can find us on just about every podcast streaming service. Just search for All Things Super. And if you want to join in on the conversation, you can tweet at us at ATSuperPod.
What? I know.
It's just
I know.
Nothing else more to say about this movie.
I promise we won't be in a gray area next time you see us.
Well, we don't know.
So well,
it depends on the next thing that we watch. It's how it is. But you have to come back next time so you can see. But until next time,
y'all.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.